Welcome, my beautiful rosebuds, to this first activation of the magical mind. Today, we are not just learning how magic works, we're remembering it. We are bridging the gap between brain and soul, between science and spirit, between thought and transformation. Now, in this video, we're going to do a couple exercises. We're going to play around and experiment with our mind's eye. Now, there's going to be a couple exercises, and during those exercises, I want you to pause the video and give yourself time to do the exercise without feeling rushed, okay? And so when you do these lessons throughout House of Glamours, the Gilded, I want you to set aside time, especially for the video lectures, okay, so that we can really engross ourselves in the exercise or the ritual. Now let's talk about how the brain works and how it doesn't know the difference between something that is very real and something that is vividly imagined, okay? Now our brain, it speaks in symbols, imagery, and it also picks up on your emotional triggers and it translates that into a frequency. Now that frequency goes out and it kind of umbrellas over us, like yourself and your life. It interacts with the 3D reality. We have this ability to change things here. Everything that is 3D, and even things that are not 3D, things that are unseen, like our emotions, the emotions and thoughts of others. It is able to do this because our minds are not physically here in this 3D reality. It's not even in our brains. Scientists have yet to find where our consciousness lies within our brains. Now, this leads to tell us that our minds operate separately from our brain, and our mind is something that our brain streams from. We are gathering our information from our mind. And in fact, our mind operates outside of our brain, disconnected from time and present reality. Now, like I said, the brain works with codes. It is picking up on your emotional output that your mind is translating to it. It is picking up on all of the imagery that your mind is thinking of, and that can be of things of the past. It could be of things that are of the future. It could be of the present moment. It can be a fictional book, a movie. It's picking up on all of this data, this code, and it's translating it into a frequency. Now that frequency, like I said, goes out and it umbrellas over ourselves and our life. Now, if you're aware, you can actually see this residual conversation between the brain and the mind and this frequency input and how it controls things here. You can see the little bits of residual data in the way that you think, your thinking patterns, maybe even the way that you're presenting yourself, the way that you're behaving. You can see it in things outside of yourself, around you, physical objects and experiences. You will see this conversation between the mind and the brain on how the brain is picking up on things that are not real or that have come and passed, or things that are very vividly imagined. And you can see it if you're very aware. You can see the data from this conversation. So basically we can say that the brain is the computer that's running all the programs that the mind is sending it. It's running all the programs, like the thought patterns. When I say that, it's like belief systems, thought patterns that are running. They have pictures and memories and videos, whether they're real or not. The brain is holding all of that information, right? Running it on cycled. And it's like this continuous conversation back and forth between the brain that's running the programs telling the mind, right? Now the mind is not necessarily separate from you. You are the mind, you are the observer. But it takes awareness to understand what we're feeding our brain. What programs are we pushing forward deeper into this computer that ultimately really controls our physical reality and even our non-physical reality? We're not separate. We are the mind. We are the mind, and we are part of a collective mind. But we're going to stay on this just singular stream of energy, which is you. You are in control of what the mind is outputting into the brain, and the brain cycles all of those beliefs, all of those images, those identities, the memories, the fantasy of the future, right? You are in control of that. Now let's talk a little bit about the magic of this relationship, this conversation. The brain, it believes whatever it hears, whatever it sees, okay, and repeats. So whatever you're repeating, the mental programs, the imagery, the memories, whatever that is being repeated, even if it's a fantasy, I am rich, I'm a millionaire, right? Whatever you're repeating to yourself, the person that's in control of the mind, which is you, the brain believes it. So the brain is a computer. The mind is operating outside of time, outside of current reality. And you have access, you stream into this mind space, and you ultimately control that mind space, which our brain is also streaming from. Now, the mind is always listening. The mind space that's outside of us is always listening to what you're saying. It's listening to the imagery that you're imagining, and it's sending it to the brain, and the brain has it going on repeat, cycling in the brain, in the mind. So if you're not aware, there's a lot going on up here that is controlling your current circumstances, the way that you perceive yourself, and the way that you perceive your life. And with that, it controls how things are orchestrated here, the things that manifest or don't manifest here. Now, it's really important to keep in mind that this mind space speaks in emotions. It picks up on feelings. It picks up on imagery. I want to drill this into your mind. It picks up on imagery and feeling. So when we're doing our mirror magic, when we get into glamour, really get into the Glamours Witch chapters of this course, it's really important to practice so much that you get into it, that you start to feel it. Because our mind picks up on feeling. It picks up on the imagery, right? What you're saying to it. And it picks up on what it sees, right? The imagery, the feelings, and the sounds. So these are very important. This is how you're going to create a different dialogue. Throughout this course, this is how you're going to create a different dialogue and eventually create a different self and create a different life. It's through what you're feeding this mind space, which has this direct access to your brain, which kind of like, you can kind of think of the brain is what kind of makes us feel like on autopilot. We're not constantly thinking about these programs, but they're running and they're controlling the space here that we occupy, whether it be our bodies, right? It's controlling the way that we fucking look, and it's controlling the way that our life is unfolding. Okay, so really keep that in mind, that that is the language of the mind. Imagery, feeling, and sound. That is how we are going to communicate to the mind, which ultimately that's what we're doing, whether we're doing candle magic, doing a whole ceremony ritual, or in our, doing our glamour magic, our beauty magic. this is the language that we're using. We're using the language of the mind to basically reprogram ourselves. Now let's get into the first exercise. This exercise is going to show you how it doesn't really pick up on present time and present reality. I want you to close your eyes, center yourself with breath for a couple moments. So remember, you're going to pause the video after I'm done talking and you're going to do the exercise. Okay, so you're going to close your eyes, center yourself, and then you're going to bring upon a time in the past where you did not feel so great. You felt sad, you felt angry, you felt frustrated. You're going to pick an emotion and a time period that already has passed, and you're going to take yourself there. And I want you to kind of lose yourself in that memory of feeling horrible, okay? Don't worry, the next exercise is a lot better, but I want you to really engross yourself in, put yourself back in that moment where you felt not so great, okay? And then unpause the video. Now, the point of this exercise is for you to bring awareness on where your mind is going and what's going on in your mind. Now, while you're thinking about this time that wasn't so pleasant, maybe you were angry, you were sad, you were upset, frustrated, depressed, anxious. There was probably a lot of things going on. You could probably sense the programming. You were, the mental thoughts. Sorry, sometimes I have to change the way I speak, but you're probably thinking of you thought about some belief systems during that time. Maybe it's oh, I'm unworthy. I hate this. I hate my life. Whatever you were telling yourself, you probably thought about a little bit of the programming that was running back then. Maybe they're still going on. Maybe you were even brought to different memories, different scenarios. This is kind of leading you to know that your mind kind of goes off in these different streams of memory, of imagination. It kind of just starts to go wild. And this is why it's important for us to do glamour every day. And remember, glamour is not just about, getting all nice and cute. This is about embodying an energy that you want to create for yourself. And this is why it's so important, because if we don't have control of this mind space and we're not fueling what we actually want to create for ourselves, it's going to run off. Because with life, you're going to become triggered. But it's important to create these healthy streams of thought patterns about yourself and about your life, because if you don't, when you are triggered, you can run off in each direction. Your brain will be running off in each direction. Now, also take notice, were you aware of what was going on, or were you just completely engrossed in the experience? Were you you didn't hear what was going on? You were just your mind, you left, because the mind is not here. It's somewhere else, and it has an archive of everything that has happened to us. It also has an archive of everything that has to come, that hasn't happened, that can happen. So take note that through this exercise, when you're visualizing, you're off somewhere else, okay? And that is the archive, okay? Now, the second exercise is a repeat of the first one, but we're going to think of a more pleasant, just to clear that energy, tap into what the energy that we want to really be in. Think about something pleasant. This can be also of the past, because the past energy does influence the present moment. That is the key here. That when we're using this ability to time travel, we are influencing our present reality. Again, our brain does not know that that has come and gone. It's only picking up on that's what you're focusing on. So this second exercise, I want you to engross yourself, indulge in an experience. Now, this can be completely imaginary or something that has already come and passed. If you want to start this glamour, right? This shift in identity, creating a new preferred identity. Why don't you, play with the energy of seeing yourself as very magnetic, confident, or seeing yourself as happy or rich? Engross yourself in that imagery, that magic. Because whether it is something that is bad, whether it is something that is good, whether it's something that did happen or something that won't happen or will happen, it's magic. This is the magic of the mind. So again, close your eyes, center yourself, and take yourself somewhere pleasurable, somewhere that feels really great, and then unpause the video. Now, the same with this exercise. I want you to take note of the different streams of imagery and thought patterns that were just going off, shooting off, different things that you were thinking about. Maybe you thought about a certain person, just take note of what's going on in your mind. Also take note, were you able to really like leave this place? Like leave the sensations of this place where your mind just takes you out of this, present time. Take note of that too, because this is more of studying yourself. This course is about studying where you are on the spectrum. And we're trying to move closer and closer to becoming an instant magician, right? With the flick of our mind. So just take note of how well you have control over your mind, okay? And just take note, just like the last exercise, realize where your mind is at, how much it's going in different directions. Now with this next exercise, we are going to use our words and movement. The mind picks up why ritual works. It's not just the visualization, but it's also the movement. The movement and the sounds creates this experience that's weird, and the brain picks up on it and it pays attention to it. It also invokes emotion, feeling within us when we begin to get ritual-like and bring movement into our words. It would be boring if you just stood there in front of the mirror. I am beautiful. I am rich. We want to start talking in a certain way so that the sound is something interesting to pay attention to. We want to start moving in such a way where our mind is like, hey, what are we doing here? Let's pay attention. Let's add this to the archive. This is important. That is how our brain works. That's why when you go off to the graveyard, you might even believe it even more that whatever you did in the graveyard, whatever ritual or spell that involved the graveyard, it pays attention to it, and it puts it in the archive as something that is important and that, it's believable. Okay, so pay attention to how you are feeling in this next exercise. So I want you to pick let's just do one affirmation that is, that we're all going to say here. I want you guys to say that, let's say, I am beautiful. Let's just pick with that affirmation. And I want you to rub your hands together like this. I am beautiful. And you can do this in front of a mirror, or it's best to do it in front of a mirror because then you're seeing yourself. But if you want to do it just right here in front of the phone, that's fine. Rub your hands together and maybe even clap your hands together and tell yourself that you're beautiful. If you want to use a different affirmation, you can do that. Okay, and do this for at least like 60 seconds to maybe even 3 minutes. You want to repeat, I am beautiful, and allow yourself to change the way that you're talking, change the way that you're moving, even if you want to clap your hands or move them in such a way. Okay? Allow yourself to move while you say this. And while you're still doing this, whatever it is, I want you to figure out while you're saying this, I am beautiful, or whatever affirmation that you choose for yourself. and pay attention to how you are sounding. Start changing the way that you sound and the way that you move. You can continue to do this, right? Because this is generating some type of energy. Maybe you place it. That's what I like to do. I like to generate energy like this sometimes and then place it on me as I say the affirmation over my heart space, right? Sometimes I get really elaborate with it, right? Like, pay attention to how you're moving, how you are sounding, right? And lose yourself in that process. And then I want you to sit in silence and pay attention to how the energy feels within you. Now, you could feel an energy shift in some type of way. Maybe you feel uncomfortable. Maybe you feel juiced up. Maybe you feel all like, powered up, feeling different. Maybe you're perceiving yourself as different, but just take note to the energy shift, because this is what glamour is what magic is. I always say all magic is glamour because it is about energy work. But just pay attention to how the energy shifts within you while you're doing this. Pay attention if you're feeling it in your hands or over your heart space if you used that in the exercise, but pay attention to the shift of energy and just take note of it. Now for this third last exercise that we're going to be doing in this lecture to kind of show you how the brain picks up on this energy, and it kind of like, it changes the way that we see ourselves, the way that we feel, and then eventually you will see how it changes the physical reality as well. This last exercise is about embodying a certain energy. So I want you, once you pause the video, I want you to get up and walk around your room, and I want you to pick either a king, a queen. You can also pick a peasant if you want to as well, or a jester, or you can also pick let's just stick with that, a queen, a king, or you can pick someone of low status, because really glamour is about not just embodying these like powerful energies that we deem to be powerful, right? But glamour can also be used to embody other types of energies. It's not just about becoming beautiful. It's about becoming who you want to be. All right. To be perceived however you want to be perceived, whether that be a queen energy or that be a monster. Let's keep in mind, this is about embodying an energy, working with energy. So I want you to pick something. Let's say a queen or a king. I want you to walk around your room and move like a queen, move like a goddess, move like a fairy, or move like a werewolf. Move like a vampire, a monster, a zombie. Pick something. And notice how your mind, I want you to lose yourself. Remember, we're pausing the video. We're giving ourselves these times to get into these exercises or rituals. And I want you to lose yourself in this exercise and to just really play with this energy. Walk around your room, move, talk, pick things up like a queen would pick up a thing, move like a vampire, like a monster, whatever. But pay attention to how your mind is picking up on this energy. Okay? Notice that this is an energy that your mind is starting to embody. Also, if you want to take it a step further, after you're done with this little exercise, take note to maybe the things that were running through your mind. Okay? It might be like, bitch, you stupid. Like, what are you doing? You ain't no motherfucking queen, or you might see images of Beyonce. You might see images of Isis or Cleopatra. You might see, certain figures in history. You might hear different things being said to you. You might notice that you like moving like this. Know that you can move like this whenever you want. Who is telling you that you can't? But just take note to how the energy is shifting. Notice that this is an energy that you're beginning to embody, and that it just really shifts the way that your mind is perceiving reality, perceiving you and the current reality. Now, this last one is really kind of like a mini homework assignment. I want you to sit in front of the mirror and maybe write down at least 3 affirmations that you want to eventually embody more. So if you don't believe that you're beautiful and you want to believe that and you want to be more of a beautiful person, write that affirmation. We're using I am affirmations because this signals to us the energy that we are identifying with. Okay, so you're going to pick, I am confident, I am beautiful, I am rich. Okay, and you're going to sit down in front of the mirror and you're going to also just write down, as you're saying this, you can repeat it to yourself as you look into the mirror, but take note to what belief systems are running in your mind and brain, cycling. What is going on up there? It is really important. Yes, we can sit in front of the mirror and continue to tell ourselves that we are these things. And eventually, yes, we will become them. Life will change because, again, the brain picks up on repetition. It picks up on what it's hearing, what it's seeing, and looking and gazing into the mirror or even the camera, like I'm doing right now, is a very powerful practice. And you can even record yourself if you want to and look back on it. But it's a very powerful practice that also helps us connect with ourselves, with that mind space. Okay. So that's why mirrors are very powerful tools that we use in glamour and in magic, period, because it's something that really helps us to connect with that observer in the mind, which is you. You're the observer. You're the controller of the mind space. And so I want you to look into the mirror and repeat these affirmations and also just jot down these belief systems. It could be, yeah, you are beautiful. Oh my God, I love you. It could be anything that's being said. Pay attention. It could be like, you're ugly. No, you're not. Your mom said this in 1999. They said, she was pointing out you're fat. Or in 2015, that person broke up with you. So why do you think you're so beautiful? You're nothing. I want you to write down these belief systems. It's important for us to know what's going on up there in the mind. It's important to understand this because then you can begin to step away from it and not identify with it. There's going to be certain programs that you notice and belief systems that you notice that you're like, well, that doesn't make sense. All because that person called me ugly in, 6th grade. Like in 6th grade, I was bullied. And there was this one boy that would always call me a doormat. And when I started doing confidence work on myself, I realized that period in my time, really, my brain was really picking up on it, right? Embarrassing moments where we feel ashamed, it picks up on that energy. And so I remember making this awareness where I was like, wow, I really thought that, I wasn't anything. That was a memory that really signaled to me, and I identified that I was low, that I could be stepped on. This is really deep shadow work, by the way. And I am bringing this up because my beauties are going to do the shadow work. And you're going to become even more beautiful because of it. We're going to identify these things that really don't make sense to our current self, okay? And it can also reveal the work that needs to be done on self, okay? Even if it's much more deeper than just the school bully, if it's your parents, or somebody else hurt you, a person broke up with you, and that's why you believe that, you're not beautiful, or, you realize, maybe that's why you don't feel so confident because you see your ex, you see the person that they're now with or whatever, But it's important, like I said, it's important for us to know this so that we can unidentify with these belief systems. It'll make you more powerful, and it also will help the the energy, the new energy that we're fueling into ourselves, which is, I am beautiful, I am confident, I am rich, I am, valuable, I am a good person, whatever it is. We're fueling this into us to create these new belief systems of self. So it's important for us to disconnect from the things that we know that are not true. Okay? And so it's important when you see these things to understand that you get to choose who you are. Other people don't choose who you are. Because when you do this practice, you'll realize, oh, I really don't think I'm beautiful because I was never told I was beautiful. But when I look at myself in the mirror, and I feel good when I say that to myself, because I really do see myself as beautiful, and I don't need other people to tell me. Maybe at a point I did, but this is what Glamour will really teach you, is that you don't need anybody to tell you anything. You don't need anyone to tell you who you are, because ultimately you are telling yourself this all day long. You are telling yourself who you are all day. And it doesn't really matter what that person said. It matters about the observer, what the observer is pouring into this mental space. Now, I hope you enjoyed this little lecture and exercise on how the brain is magical. Okay? Remember, magic is about choosing something. Choosing an energy to embody. We are the technology. Keep that in mind, okay? And I'll see you guys in the next lesson. Peace. I hope you guys enjoyed that first lesson of House of Glamours, The Gilded. This is basically a prerequisite. It is in the Basic Witch section of this magical course. It is basically a prerequisite to any type of magical practices, especially these forms of magic. Now, if you are interested in learning more about glamour, beauty, or sex magic, join the House of Glamours. It is packed with so much information. It is not a course that is full of just a bunch of reading material. It is designed to help you understand how this works and how to do it. So that means hands-on rituals, practices, exercises, and group activity. Now, this school is right in the middle of a community, a coven that I have created for us. So there's a few ways that you can join this community, House of Glamours. For those that are just wanting the course content, you're going to want to go with the bouquet plan. For those that want the course content and the full access to the coven, you're going to want to go with Rosebud. If you just want the coven access and you don't really want to study glamour magic, you want more exclusive content but still be a part of a coven that's working on elevation, then you can go for Seedling. Now, Seedling and Rosebud are both subscription based, but the difference between these two is that Rosebud, because of that course content and all of the education and the full access of all the education that's being poured into this space, it comes with that tuition fee. Now, for those that are going to be choosing Bouquet and Rosebud, the class is half off right now for early bird enrollment because we start in the fall. I am so excited to meet all of you guys and to start learning and growing. I'm ready to level up. Are you? Let me know down below in the comments if you're joining House of Glamours. Let me know if you're thinking about it. Let me know if you guys have any questions. All right, and I'll see you guys in the next video.